Hi everyone, this is your host, Corbin Johnson, discussing with you how I like to play Relativity. I've been promising for some time to do a tutorial of Relativity, if you will, so what I've got here are missions in my deck. You have to have Prevent Historical Disruption for Relativity to work. It's the only way to get the Relativity ship into play. That may not actually be strictly true. You might be able to play a Caretaker's Array or something like that. I'm not sure. Anyway, so the missions are chosen. This deck is kind of a ripoff of, I think, Sasha Kiefer's Relativity deck, and I've stuck with it for a while. And I haven't changed the missions yet. I find them pretty nice, actually. Their skills fit really well into the Relativity people, and the limited number of future people in Relativity make for you to kind of go, well, here's the people first, and you've got to find missions to fit with them second. So Explore by Cluster is fairly simple. The Cunning isn't too terribly difficult. Astrometrics, Leadership, Physics, Science, lots of those skills abounding in the deck. The range of 4 is okay because you can play personnel to the ship. The problem is that the ship has 6 staffing icons in order to move. However, the deck typically can get a ship and enough people to staff it out on turn 3, which means you're attempting missions on turn 3, which is really the most important part of Relativity, at least in my opinion. Many people play much larger Relativity decks. This is a very small 35 card deck or so, maybe 40, 41. I've put a few more cards into it as time goes by. So, turn 1, you've got to download the Relativity using either the game text on the mission or draw 1 copy of Relativity. There are 3 copies in the deck, and you might be able to draw 1. If not, there are 3 copies of Tacking into the Wind into the deck. And if all else fails, you can always download it with the mission. Discard personnel if you can for that, except for Joel Duquesne. Don't discard him if you can help it, because he can get a free personnel into play when he plays. So when he plays, you get a bunch of skills, some nice attributes, and a free dude for the cost of 4. That's pretty good, and maybe arguably too good. The deck has 3 copies of Temporal Transporters in it, and if you're not familiar with how this works, essentially you play it for 2 counters, discard 2 cards from your hand in order to replicate it so that you can put it back in your hand when you're done using it, and then take a Fed from your discard pile and put him on your ship. It has to go in the Relativity. You cannot go on the Wells. However, so what? It's very powerful. You can get back personnel turn after turn after turn and keep bringing this event back to your hand every single time you play it. You really almost never want to not pay the replicate cost, just because it's so important to have copies of this in your hand. Temporal Transporters can, if you lose your copies of it because of Greasy Ducat or something like that, hopefully you've got enough personnel in the deck using Tacking into the Wind as well to grab those personnel back from the discard pile and keep playing your future personnel to stay in the game. Other than that, there are a couple of issues with the Relativity deck. There is some skills that they lack. Acquisition, there is 1 personnel with Acquisition, that's Nog. I think Intelligence, you have to add that into the deck using Temporal Transporters, so you could get screwed there. And no Empathy, or I guess Telepathy. Law looks like it's also pretty scarce. I think, I don't know if anyone actually has Law in the deck. Joel does have Law. So, other than that, you kind of have to be... They do have most every other skill, so not terribly worried about that. There is a Bat'leth in the deck to take care of the hand weapon, because there's no intelligence in the deck for Rogueborg Mercenaries or Rogueborg Ambush Rogueborg thingy. And there is a copy of James D. Kirk Living Legend in the deck for getting around dilemmas, and there's also a copy of Original Thinker. Just 1 copy of each, You can always recur the original thinker because he doesn't go out of play. You can play him as many times as you need. OT, just because he's that good. Getting past overcoming a dilemma is just amazing. It might be worthwhile to throw additional copies of him in the deck. For now, it doesn't seem to be that important for me. So what I'm going to do is we'll play through a few hands of Relativity, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm shuffling. I'm going to cut. Draw 7. Let's see if we can get a ship out and a mission attempt on turn 3. So, no ship in my opening hand, but I did pull Attacking into the Wind. So let's play that for 4 to download a ship. So we get that for 4. Let's play... We've got Delivery Boy in here. Delivery Boy is good for playing temporal cards at cost -3. So you can play your temporal transporters for free later on. So let's play that. Six, draw 7. Alright, that's turn 1. Turn 2, we've got, I'm going to draw 1. I'm going to play Naomi 2-3, Nog 4-5-6-7. Alright, that's turn 2. Let's move on to turn 3 here. I'm going to draw 1. Got the wells, so let's play a copy of that, so it's out there. This is good for, having the wells out there is good for things like greater needs, and anytime you just need a second ship in play. Or it's sometimes helpful to have ships in hand for certain dilemmas like tactical advantage or disadvantage or whatever it's called. So, I drew for 1, let's draw for 2. Alright, Maris, I don't want to play Maris yet. 2. Draw 3, another Delivery Boy. I'm not drawing any temporal transporters, that's a problem here. Draw 4, here it is. Just drew temporal transporters for 6 for Icheb. When you play Icheb, the next temporal event you play this turn is cost -2, so let's play this at cost -2. I'm going to discard 2 cards from hand, 2 personnel, and going to pop them in the discard pile for replicating temporal transporters. So that costs nothing. So I'm going to grab data, and then I think I was at 6 counters. So let's pop a Delivery Boy to play temporal transporters again. I'll discard 2 cards so I can grab it back, and let's grab Braxton for 6. And then draw for 7, and play that, because I can. And sure enough, on turn 3, we've gone and staffed the Relativity. So, you probably have the skills at this point, especially with data, I'm sure you've got the attributes. So, Astro, Leader, Fizz. Astro, he's got Leader, Fizz, Science, absolutely. And the Cunning is almost inconsequential. So you can absolutely attempt, you move here and attempt on your first turn. Or in your third turn. Pretty awesome stuff. I think that is good enough tutorial on how to play Relativity. Questions, comments, or concerns, you can give me a call at 267-CALL-CPJ, or leave me a PM on the message boards at CorbinQ27. You can always email me at CorbinJohnson@me.com if you have any more questions about this. And until next time, this is Corbin Johnson signing off saying so long and thanks for all the trek.